I think the global meltdown is a very actually important thing for us activists to learn from. It is in fact a wonderful opportunity, even though we didn't ask for it, but this is because the meltdown or the crisis of the financial architecture of the global economy. And it does say a lot about how unsustainable the global economy has been, and we're seeing that right now. And I think it validates a lot of what many activists, particularly from the South, but also with their allies in the North, have been saying all along, that a lot of the rules of trade, for example, international trade and finance, are very much stacked against the interests of most of the people in the world. And this is almost a natural consequence. That is to say, this global meltdown is almost a natural consequence of the very misguided policies of the past. Now, the global meltdown also points to the very undemocratic nature and the untransparent nature of many of these negotiations to do with international trade and finance. And again, validating a lot of the concerns that people have been raising against supranational or supranational institutions like the World Trade Organization and also the World Bank and IMF. So this is, we must use this as an opportunity to rework the rules of engagement around trade and finance so that it works finally in the interests of communities and people around the world, both in the South as well as in the North. I mean, first thing is that ordinary people or regular people on the street need to start paying attention. I mean, this is very, very crucial. The reason we are at this point in time in history right now, facing financial crisis which is affecting the regular person on the street, one of the main reasons we are here is because people have not been paying attention to the different exercises that have been undertaken to define these rules of engagement around trade and finance. And so, people need to, and it's already affecting thousands and thousands of people around the world. So first and foremost, people need to take more interest in why we are here, and secondly, and more importantly, how we can get out of this mess. And we must insist that people's voices, communities' voices, are heard in all these forums that ostensibly talk about meeting the needs of the world's poor and the world's environment, but in fact have not really done that. And so we must collectively, we must work together to put more light upon these processes. The G20 meeting coming up here is a very important opportunity for people in the UK, but also from around the world, to hold the G20 accountable for its failed policies so far. Again, the G20 process, like many other similar processes, has been very undemocratic. It has been very closed, that is to say, it has been very not very transparent. And I think people need to use this opportunity of the upcoming G20 meeting to let them know very clearly that we're looking for something very different, and that the G20 needs to significantly redraw or to rethink what it's about. And one of the options on the table must be actually rethinking whether the G20 even ought to exist or not, because it's an exclusive club of the supposedly the richest, economically richest economies. But the problem with this is that we're trying to meet the needs not so much of the rich countries anymore, but of the countries that are not there. But how can you come to that conclusion, or how can you arrive at those sound decisions if the very people that we're trying to assist are absent from the negotiating table? I think, and so the G20 needs to, and the people who will be protesting the G20 need to make this point very, very clearly, that it has to be a much more inclusive club. And that is to say, it has to be representative of just about every community and every person in this world, particularly those people who are left out of the global economy, and particularly those people who have been very marginalized traditionally. I think the 6 Billion Ways conference is fantastic. It's very inspiring to me. I think I'm very, very excited with the turnout. It gives me a lot of hope and inspiration that that so many people are so interested in talking and discussing about such issues, which are extremely, extremely important issues. Also, what's very, very good about the 6 Billion Ways conference here is the diversity of voices from the progressive community, but we have people here from all over the world in terms of the presentations particularly. And I think it's very good that such an effort has been placed to bring these diversity of voices to the conference, because we have a lot to learn from, for example, what communities in South Africa are doing and how they're going about doing it. Similarly, what communities in India or Bangladesh or Ecuador are doing. And so it's a very, very good opportunity, and it's very exciting to be here.